I'm Mira Frisch, and we're going to be talking about the guidelines, goals, and repertoire for the ASTACAP Cello Level 4 exam. In this level, just like all previous levels, we're going to be looking for good posture, good left hand technique, and a good bow hold. In this level, the ASTACAP handbook specifically talks about a relaxed bow hold. So we're really going to be looking to make sure that there is no tension in the fingers or thumb of the bow hold. We're looking for good intonation, correct rhythm, and a clear, strong tone. So the word strong we see in this level for the first time listed in the ASTACAP handbook. So we want to make sure that students are really comfortable playing into the string with their arm weight and pronating, pouring that arm weight into the string in the upper half of the bow so that we have the ability to really play with a beautiful and projected sound. In this level, students should be comfortable playing in 1st through 4th positions with a little bit of 5th position. So on the cello, that can be a little tricky because we're right in this kind of area in between the lower positions and thumb position. So we're going to be looking to make sure the elbow comes around. For students with small hands like myself in 5th position, it's more comfortable for the thumb to come to the side in order to reach some of those notes. We're also looking for an introduction of double stop technique. So in cello repertoire and etudes at this level, we're going to tend to see double stops where we have one note combined with an open string to create those double stops. That's going to be the most common thing that we see. We're also looking for accents in the bow on a down or an up, and some ability to lift and get the wonderful resonant sound that we get when we lift our bow off the string. In cello level 4, some of the pieces and scales require tenor clef, so it is not unreasonable for students to be comfortable playing in tenor clef, especially when they need to play up high on the fingerboard on the A string. At this level, they're going to be introduced to scales in broken thirds, and so on. And at this level, we're going to expect that vibrato is used on pieces throughout, as much as is possible for the student, and that the students are going to really play more expressively with detail in their phrasing, in the tapering of ends of phrases, and in their dynamics. So for example, if a student were to play the Berval Sonata, the famous first movement of the Berval Sonata, the melody that happens at the beginning of the piece right after those introductory chords, we really want to hear the important notes of the phrase brought out, the contour of the phrase brought out. So when notes go up, we're going to use more bow and lean towards those notes a little bit. And at the end of the phrase, we're really going to taper and refine the last note. So for example, something like this. Something like that. In order to make that phrase come alive, I had to really pay attention to my bow speed. So in fact, there was one up bow that I needed to get back to the frog to, this one. So I had to be light and fast to get back to the frog without accidentally accenting that note. So these are some, real attention to detail that we can be looking for in the cello level 4 exam. At this level, students need to play one scale and its equivalent tonic arpeggio from each of 3 categories. So the first category, they need to play a 2-octave major scale in A flat or B flat, okay? And then they need to play a 3-octave major scale in C, D, E flat, or F. So we're looking for some facility up high on the instrument, and we're looking for some ability to sort of do the traditional cello fingering. For example, E flat major, for students to be able to play the traditional scale fingering that creeps back by whole and half step on the instrument, and while they don't need to play with their thumbs in the scale, they need to feel comfortable bringing their thumbs around and resting on the string while they shift. One way that we can help our students get more comfortable with these shifts that creep up in the scales is by teaching them to add an extra note temporarily. So those notes can serve as a nice guide note to help the student learn what new position they need to go to and how to find it in the scale fingering. The last category, they need to play a 2-octave minor scale in A or E, and they can play either melodic or harmonic minor, depending on the philosophy of the teacher. At this level, again, the quarter note is going to stay steady at 60 or slightly faster. The bowing for the scales is going to be slurring 2 or 4 eighth notes. And the bowing for the arpeggios, like the previous level, is slurring 2 or 3 quarter notes. So the arpeggios are always nice and slow. The students can use any fingering that's appropriate that their teacher gives them. So the kind of professional fingering that always starts on the C string and goes up a new string per octave, that's not necessarily required. There are some wonderful fingerings that make use of the lower positions and open strings. Those are absolutely appropriate. At this level, there isn't one etude that's required, though memory is not. Repertoire, we encourage students to play from memory, and there is sight reading on this level. The sight reading on this level, the students need to be able to read in keys up to 2 sharps or up to 2 flats. Meters are going to be similar to the last level, 4/4, 3/4, 2/4, or 6/8. And the note values can include dotted eighths, 16th note, and 8th note rests, in addition to all those simpler note values like quarter and half notes. And they may be asked to slur 2, 3, or 4 notes together. And some simple shifting is going to be needed for sight reading at this level 4. At the level 4 exam, students may play 1 or 2 pieces plus an etude, and a concerto or sonata movement counts as 1 piece. So scale books that are appropriate for this level, again, in the Aztec Handbook, there are many, many more suggestions, and this will just give you a little idea of what would be appropriate at the level 4 exam. Epperson, a manual of essential cello techniques, would be good for scales. For etudes, we can still look at the Schroeder 170 etudes. At the level 4 exam, though, we're going to be looking for etudes from the 2nd volume of that series. And we could be looking at the Kummer Cello Method, Opus 60. Pieces, we can be looking at the Brval Sonata in C major, where I demonstrated a phrase from that. We can look for the Beethoven Sonata, or Sonatina, in D major. Romberg Sonata in E minor is a really popular piece for this level. And also, any pieces from Suzuki's Cello Book 4 would be perfect repertoire for the cello level 4 exam. So now we're going to watch some students playing in the level 4 exam and discuss what we can notice in the videos.